Om Jaya Ugrasrava, the son of Lamachashana, surnamed Sauti, well versed in the Puranas, bending with humility, one day approached the grey sage of rigid vows, sitting at their easy, who had attended the 12-year sacrifice of Saunaka, surnamed Kulapati, in the forest of Naimisha. Thus ascetics, wishing to hear his wonderful narration, presently began to address him who had thus arrived at that recluse abode of the inhabitants of the forest of Naimisha. Having been entertained with due respect by those holy men, he saluted those munis with joined palms, even of then, and inquired about the progress of their asceticism. Then all the ascetics began again seated. The son of Lamachashana humbly occupied the seat that was assigned to him. Seeing that he was comfortably seated and recovered from fatigue, one of the rishis began the conversation. Asked him, "Whence comest thou, O lotus-eyed Sauti, and where hast thou spent the time? Tell me who asked thee in detail." Accomplished in speech, Saud thus questioned, gave in the midst of that big assemblage of contemplative munis a full and proper answer, in the word consonant with their mode of life. Sauti said, "Having heard the diverse sacred and wonderful history which were composed in his Mahabharata by Krishna Payana, and which were recited in full by thy son Payana at the snake sacrifice of the high-souled royal sage Janamejaya, and in the presence of all of that chief of princes, the son of Parakshiti, and having wandered about visiting many sacred waters and holy shrines, and journeyed to the country venerated by the Divishas, and called Samanta Panchaka, where formerly was fought the pair between the children of Kuru and Pandu, and all the chiefs of the land hastened on either side. Thence, anxious to see you, I am come into your presence. Ye reverend sage, all of whom are to me as Brahma, ye greatly blessed who shine in this place of sacrifice with the splendor of the solar fire. Ye who have concluded the silent meditation and have fed the whole fire, and yet who are sitting without care. What all ye divisions shall I repeat? Shall I recount the sacred history collected in the Puranas, containing precepts of religion duty, and of orderly profit, or the acts of illustrious saints and sovereigns of mankind?" The rishi replied, "The Purana, first promulgated by the great Rishi Payana, and which after having been heard both by the gods and the Brahmanishis, was highly esteemed, being the most eminent narrative that exists, diversified both in diction and division, possessing subtly meanings logically combined, and gleaned from the Vedas, is a sacred work. Composed in elegant language, it includeth the subjects of other books. It is elucidated by other Shastras, and comprehendeth the sense of the four Vedas. We are desirous of hearing that history was called Bharata, the whole composition of the wonderful Vyasa, which displayeth the fear of evil, just it was cheerfully recited by the Rishva San Payana, under the direction of the Payana himself, at the snake sacrifice of Raja Janamejaya." Sauti said, "Having bowed down to the primordial being Isana, to whom multitudes make offerings, and who is adored by the multitude, who is the true incorruptible one, Brahma, perceptibly, imperceptibly, eternal, who is the both a non-existent and an existing non-existent being, who is the universe, and all distinct from the existing and non-existing universe, who is the creator of high and low, the ancient, exalted, inexhaustibly one, who is Vishnu, beneficent, and the beneficence itself, worthy of our preference, pure and immaculated, who is Hari, the ruler of the faculties, the guide of all things, movably and immovably. I will declare the sacred truths of the illustrious sage Vyasa, of marvelous deeds, and worshipped he by all. Some bars have already published this history, some are now teaching it, and others, in like manner, will hereafter promulgate it upon the earth. It is a great source of knowledge, established throughout the three regions of the world. It is possessed by the twice born, both in the tale and compendious form. It is the delight of the learned for being embellished with elegant expressions, conversations human and divine, and a variety of poetical necessaries. In this world, when it was destitute of brightness and light, and enveloped all around in total darkness, there came into being, as the prime cause of creation, a mighty egg, the own inexhaustibly seed of all creating beings. It is called Mahadevya, and was formed at the beginning of the Yuga, in which we are told was the true light Brahma, the eternal one, the wonderful and inconceivable being present alike in all places, the invisible and subtle cause, whose nature is partaker of entity and non-entity. From this egg came out the Lord Pitamaha Brahma, the only Prajapati, with Saura Guru and Sita Hanu. Then appeared the 21 Prajapatis, Manu, Vistihya, and Paramashiti, 10 Prasetas, Daksha, and the 7 sons of Daksha. Then appeared the men of inconceivable nature, whom all the rishis know, and so the Visvidevas, and the Adityas, the Vasus, and the twin Asvins, the Yakshasas, the Satihiyas, the Pisashas, the Kuhyakas, and the Pitris. After these were produced the wise and most whole Brahmashis, and the numerous Rajashis, distinguished by every noble quality. So the water, the heavens, the earth, the air, the sky, the points of the heavens, the year, the seasons, the months, the 40 nights, called Paksha, which day and night in due succession, and thus were produced all things which are known to mankind. In what is seen in the universe, whether animate or inanimate, of created things, will at the end of the world, and after the expiration of the Yuga, be again confounded. And at the commencement of the other Yugas, all things will be renovated, and, like the various fruits of the earth, succeed each other in the due order of their seasons, thus continueth perpetually to revolve in the world, without beginning and without an ending, this will which causeth the destruction of all things. The generation of Devas, in brief, was 33,333. The sons of Tiv were Brihadivihanu, Rakshus, Atima, Vibhavasu, Savita, Rishika, Arka, Bihanu, Asavaha, and Ravi. Of these Vishwas ones of old, Maria was the youngest whose son was Devravata. The leader had for his son Suvrata, who, we learn, had 3 sons, Dasashiote, Satashiote, and Sahasrashiote, each of them producing numerous offspring. The illustrious Dasashiote had 10,000, Satashiote 10 times that number, and Sahasrashiote 10 times the number of Satashiote offspring. From these are descended the family of the Kurus, of the Yadus, and of Viharata, the family of Yayati and Ikshvaku, those of all the Rajashis. Numerous were the generation produced, and very abundant were the creatures and the place of abode. The mystery which is threefold, the Vedas, Yoga, and Vijnana Dharma, Artha, and Kama, Owes various books upon the subject of the dharma, artiha, and kamma. Owes rules for the conduct of mankind, owes histories and discourse, with various truths, all of which have been seen by the rich Vyasa, are he in due order mentioned as a specimen of the book. The rich Vyasa published this mass of knowledge in both a detailed and an abridged form. It is the wish of the learned in the world to possess the details and the abridgment. Some read the Mahabharata beginning with the initial mantra, others wish the history of Astika, others wish Uparishara, while some Brahmanas stood them whole. Men of learning display the various knowledge of the institute in commenting on the composition. Some are skillful in explaining it, while others in remember its content. The son of Satyavati, having by penance and meditation analyzed the eternal Veda, afterwards composed his whole history, when that learned Brahmashi of strict vows, the nobility Vayapayana Vyasa, offspring of Parasara, had finished this great of narration, he began to consider how he might teach it to his disciples, and the process of the 6 attributes, Brahma, the worst preceptor, known of the anxiety of the rich Vayapayana, came in person to the place where the latter was for gratifying the saint, and benefiting the people. And when Vyasa, surrounded by all the tribes of Munis, saw him, he was surprised. And standing with joined palms, he bowed and ordered a seat to be brought. And Vyasa, having gone round him who is called Hiranyagarbha, seated on that distinguished seat, stood near it, and being commanded by Brahma Paramashiti, he sat down near the seat, full of affection and smiling in joy. Then the gracious glorious Vyasa, addressing Brahma Paramashiti, said, O divine Brahma, by me a poem has been composed with his greatly respect. The mystery of the Veda, and what other subjects have been explained by me, the various rituals of Upanishads, with the Angas, the compilation of the Puranas and history formed by me and named after the 3 divisions of the time, past, present, and future. The determination of the nature of decay, fear, disease, existence, and non-existence, a description of creeds and of the various modes of life, rule for the 4 castes, and importance of all the Puranas, an account of asceticism and of the duties of religion student, the dimensions of the sun and moon, the planets, constellations, and the stars, together with the duration of the 4 ages, the Rig, Sama, and Yajur Vedas, or the Adhyatma, the science called Nyaya or Toepri, and treatment of disease, Chariot and Pasupata Dharma, both celestial and human, for particular purpose, or the description of place of pilgrimage, and other whole place of rivers, mountains, forests, the ocean, of heaven series and the kalpas, the art of war, the different kinds of nation and language, the nature of the manners of the people, and the all-pervading spirit. All these have been represented, but of all, no written of these work is to be found on earth. Brahma said, I esteem thee for the knowledge of divine mysteries, before the whole board of celebrated Munis, distinguished for the sanctity of their lives, and how thou hast revealed the divine word, even from its first utterance, and the language of truth. Thou hast called the present work a poem, wherefore it shall be a poem. There shall be no poet whose work may equal the description of this poem, even as the 3 other modes called asrama are even unequal in merit to the domestic asrama. Let Ganesha be brought off, O Muni, for the purpose of writing the poem. Sauti said, Brahma have thus spoke to Vyasa, hitherto his own about. Then Vyasa began to call to mind Ganesha, and Ganesha, obviator of obstacle, ran to fulfill the desire of his votaries, was no soon through off. Then he repaired to the place where Vyasa was seated, and when he had been saluted and was seated, Vyasa addressed him thus. O guide of Ganas, be thou the writing of the Mahabharata, which I have formed in my imagination, and which I am about to repeat. Ganesha, upon hearing this address, thus answered, I will become the writer of the work, provide my pen do not for a moment cease writing. And Vyasa say unto that divinity, wherever there were anything thou dost not comprehend, cease to continue writing. Ganesha have signified his assent by repeating the word Om, proceed to write. And Vyasa began, and by way of devotion, he knit the notes of composition, extending close, but in which he dictated his work according to his engagement. Sauti said, I am acquainted with 8,800 verses, and so is Sukha, and perhaps Sanjaya. From the mysteries of their meaning, homonym, no one is able to this day to penetrate those closely knit difficult slokas. Even the omniscient Ganesha took a moment to consider, while Vyasa, however, continued to compose all the verses in great abundance. The windows of this work, like unto an instrument of applying collision, have opened the eyes of the inquisitive world, blind by the darkness of ignorance. As the sun dispelleth the darkness, so doth the Mahabharata, by this discourse on religion, prophecy, pleasure, and final release, dispel the ignorance of man. As the full moon by its mind light expandeth the boughs of the water lily, so this Purana, by exposing the light of Sutri, hath expanded the human intellect. By the lamp of history, which destroyeth the darkness of ignorance, the whole mansion of the nature is properly and completely illuminated. This work is a tree, of which the sap of contents is the seed. The divisions called Paloma and Lustica are the root. The part called Sambhava is the trunk. The books called Sabiha and Araniya are the roasting bushes. The books called Arani is the knit nut. The books called Virata and Udyoga the pith. The book named Bhishma the main branch. The book called Drona the leaves. The book called Karna the fair flowers. The book named Salia their sweet smell. The books entitled Citri and Aishika, the refreshing shade. The book called Santi, the mighty fruit. The book called Asvamedha, the immortal sap. The denominator as Ramavasika, the spot where it grows. And the book called Mausala is the epitome of the Vedas and held in great respect by the virtuous Brahmanas. The tree of the Mahabharata, inexhaustibly to mankind as the clowns, shall be a source of livelihood to all distinguished poets. I will now speak of undying flower and fruitful production of this tree, possessed of pure and pleasant taste, and not to be destroyed even by the mortals. Formerly, the spirited and virtuous Krishna Devayapayana, by the injunctions of Bhishma, the wise son of Ganga, and of his own mother, became the father of 3 boys who were like the 3 fires by the 2 wives of Vishitraviriya. And having thus raised up the Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura, he returned to his recluse abode to prosecute his religion exercise. It was not till after these were born, grew up, and depart on the supreme journey, that the great Rishi Vyasa published the Mahabharata in this region of mankind. When being solicited by Jana Medaya and thousands of Brahmanas, he instructed his disciple Vasampayana, who was seated near him, and he, sitting together with the Sadasiyas, recited the Mahabharata. During the intervals of the ceremonies of the sacrifice, being repeatedly urged to proceed. Vyasa had fully represented the greatness of the house of Kuru, the virtuous principles of Gandhari, the wisdom of Vidyura, and the constance of Kanti. The noble rishi have also described the divinity of Vasudeva, the rectitude of the sons of Pandu, and the evil practices of the sons and partisans of the Dhritarashtra. Vyasa executed the compilation of the Mahabharata, exclusive of the episodes original in 24,000 verses, and so much on is called by the learned as the Mahabharata. Afterwards, he composed an epitome in 150 verses, consisting of the introduction with the chapter of contents. This her first talk to his son Sukha, and afterwards he gave it to others of his disciples who were possessed of the same qualifications. After that, he executed another compilation, consisting of 600,000 verses. Of those, 300,000 are known in the world of the Devas, 15,000 in the world of the Pitris, 14,000 among the Gandharvas, and 100,000 in the regions of mankind. Narada recited then to the Devas, Devala to the Pitris, and Sukha published them to the Gandharvas, Yakshasas, and Rakshasas. And in this world they were recited by Vasampayana, one of the disciples of Vyasa, a man of just principles and the first among all those acquainted with the Vedas. Now, know that I, Saut, have also repeated 100,000 verses. Yudhishthira is a vast tree, formed of religion and virtue. Arjuna is the trunk. Bhishmasena is the branch. The two sons of Madhya are his full-grown fruits and flowers, and his roots are Krishna, Brahma, and the Brahmanas. Pandu, after having subdued many counts by his windows and prowess, took up his abode with the Munis in the third forest as a sportsman, where he brought upon himself a very severe misfortune for having killed a stag coupling with its mate, which served as warning for the conduct of the princes of his house, as long as they live, their mothers, in order that the ordinance of the law might be fulfilled, admitted as substitutes to their embrace the gods Dharma, Vayu, Sakra, and the divinities the twins as wings. And when their offspring grew up under the care of the two mothers, in the society of ascetics, in the midst of sacred groves and holy crucibles of religion men, they were conducted by the rishis into the presence of the Dhritarashtra and his sons, following as a student in the abbey of Brahmacharis, having their hair tied in knots on their heads. These are pupils, say they, are as your sons, your brothers, and your friends. They are Pandavas, saying these the Munis disappeared. When the Kauravas saw them introduced as the sons of Pandu, the distinguished class of cities shouted exceedingly for joy. Some, however, said they were not the sons of Pandu. Others said they were, while a few asked how they could be his offspring, since he had been so long dead. Still on all sides voices were heard crying, "They are all accounts welcome. Through divine providence we behold the family of Pandu. Let their welcome be proclaimed." As this acclamation ceased, the plaudits of invisible spirits caused every point of the heavens to resound. Were tremendous. There were a shower of sweet-scented flowers, and the sound of shells and kettle drums. Such were the wonders that happened on the arrival of the young prince. The joyful noise of all the cities, in expression of their satisfaction on the occasion, was so great that it reached the very heavens in magnifying applause. Having studied in whole of the Vedas and sundry other Shastras, the Pandavas resided there, respected by all and without apprehension from anyone. The principal men were blessed with the purity of Yudhishthira, the courage of Arjuna, the submissive attention of Kanti to her superiors, and the humility of the twins, Nakula and Sahadeva, and all the people rejoiced in their heroic virtues. After a while, Arjuna obtained the Virgin Krishna at the Sivayamvara in the midst of the conquest of Rajas, by performing a very difficult feat of archery, and from this time he became very much respected in this world among all men. And in the fields of battle also, like the sun, he was hard to behold by four men, and having vanquished all the neighboring princes and every considerable tribe, he accomplished all that was necessary for the Raja to perform the great sacrifice called Rajasuya. Yudhishthira, after having through the wise counsel of Vasudeva, and by the valor of Bhishmasena and Arjuna, his Lenjara Sandhya and the proud Shaidiya, acquired the right to perform the grand sacrifice of Rajasuya, abounding in provision and offerings, and fraught with transcendent merits. And Duryodhana came to this sacrifice, and when he beheld the vast health of the Pandavas scattering all around, the offerings, the precious stone, gold and jewels, the health and cows, elephants and horses, the curious textures, garments and mantles, the precious shawl and ferns, and carpet made of the skin of the jacu, he was filled with anger and became exceedingly displeased, and when he beheld the hall of assembly elegantly constructed by Maya, after the fashion of the celestial court, he was inflamed with rage, and having started in confusion at certain architectural deceptions with this building, he was driven by Bhishmasena in the presence of Vasudeva, like one of mean descendants. And it was represented to Dhritarashtra that his son, while partaking of various objects of enjoyment and diverse precious things, was became meek, worn, and pale. And Dhritarashtra some time after, out of affection for his son, gave his consent to their playing at dice. And Vasudeva, come to know of this, became exceedingly wroth, and being dissatisfied, he did nothing to prevent the dispute, but overlooking the game and sundry other ordered and justifiable transactions arise therefrom, and in spite of Vidura, Bhishma, Drona, and Kripa, the son of Sativan, he made at Kshatriyas kill each other in the terrific war that ensued. And the Dhritarashtra hearing the news of the success of the Pandavas and the recollection of the resolution of Duryodhana, Karna and Sakuni, pondered for a while and addressed to Sanjaya the following speech. Attend, O Sanjaya, to all I am about to say, and it will not become thee to treat me with contempt. Thou art well versed in the Shastras, intelligent and endowed with wisdom. My inclination was never to war, nor did I delight in the destruction of my race. I made no distinction between my own children and the children of Pandu. My own sons were prone to willfulness and despised me because I am old, blind as I am because of my miserable plight and through paternal affection and body rule. I was foolish after faultless Duryodhana, even growing in fool. Having been a spectator of the rich of the mighty sons of Pandu, my son was derided for his awkwardness while ascending the hall. Unable to hero and unable himself to overcome the sons of Pandu in the field, and folk assaulted, unwilling yet to obtain good fortune by his own exertion. With the help of the king of Gandhara, he concerted an unfair game at dice. Hear, O Sanjaya, how that happened thereupon, and came to my knowledge. And when thou hast heard how I say, recollecting everything as it fell out, thou shalt then know me for one with a prophetic eye. When I heard that Arjuna, having bent the bow, and fastened the curious mark, and broke it down to the ground, and bore away in triumph the maid Krishna, in the sight of the assembled princes, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Subhadra of the Rasa of Madhu had after forcible accessories been married by Arjuna in the seat of Dvaraka, and that the two heroes of the race of Vrishni, without scenting it, had entered Indraprastha as a friend, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Arjuna, by his celestial arrow, preventing the downpour, by Indra, the king of the gods, had gratified Agni by making oven to him the forest of Gandhara, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the 5 Pandavas with their mother, Kanti, had escaped from the house of luck, and that Vidura was engaged in the accomplishment of their designs, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Arjuna, after having poisoned the mark in the arena, had owned Draupadi, and that the brave Panchalas had joined the Pandavas, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Sharasandha, the foremost of the royal line of Magdha, and blazing in the midst of the Kshatriyas, had been slain by Bhishma with his bare arms alone, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that in the general campaign the sons of Pandu had conquered the chiefs of the land and performed the grand sacrifice of the Rajasuya, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Draupadi, her was choked with tears and heart full of agony and the seasons of impurity, and with but one remained on, had been dragged into court and folk she had protected. She had been treated as if she had known. Then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that, the wicked and rash Dusasana was striving to strip her of that single garment, had undrawn for her person a large heap of cloth, without being able to arrive at its end. And then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that, Yudhishthira beaten by Saubala at the game of dice, and deprived of his kingdom, as a consequence thereof, had still been attended upon by his brothers of incomparable prowess, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the virtuous Pandavas, weeping with affliction, had followed their eldest brothers to the village, wilderness, and extorted the serfs of Furious for the mitigation of his discomfort, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Yudhishthira had been followed into the wilderness by Senatakas and noble-minded Brahmanas who live upon alms, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Arjuna, having in combat placed the god of the gods Triambaka in the disguise of Hunter, obtained the great weapons Pasupata, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the just and renewed Arjuna, after having been to the celestial region, had there obtained celestial weapons from Indra himself, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that afterwards Arjuna had vanquished the Kalakeyas and the Palomas, proud with the boon they had obtained and which had rendered them invulnerable even to the celestial, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. when I heard that Arjuna, the chastiser of enemies, having gone to the regions of Indra for the destruction of the Asura, had returned then successful, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Bhishma and the other sons of Pritha, accompanied by Vaisravana, had arrived at that country which is inaccessible to man, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that my sons, guided by the counsels of Karna, while on their journeys of Goshayatra, had been taken prisoner by the Gandhikharvas and were set free by Arjuna, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the Dharma, having come under the form of Yakshasa, had proposed a certain question to Yudhishthira, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that my sons had failed to discover the Pandavas under their disguise, while hiding with Draupadi in the dominus of Virata, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the principal men of my side had all been vanquished by noble Arjuna with a single chariot, while residing in the dominus of Virata, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Vasudeva, of the race of Madhu, who covered his whole earth by one foot, was heartily interested in the welfare of the Pandavas, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the king of Matsya had offered his virtuous daughter Uttara to Arjuna, and that Arjuna had accepted her for his son, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Yudhishthira, beaten at dice, deprived of wealth, exiled and separate for his connection, had assembled yet an army of 7 Akhahonis, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard Narada declare that Krishna and Arjuna were Narayana, and he had seen them together in the regions of Brahma, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Krishna, anxious to bring about peace for the welfare of mankind, had repaired to the Kurus and went away without having been able to effect his purpose, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Karna and Duryodhana, resolved upon imprisoning Krishna, displayed in himself the whole universe, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that, at time of his departure, Pritha, standing full of sorrow, near his chariot receiving consolation from Krishna, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Vasudeva and Bhishma, the son of Santanu, were the counselors of the Pandavas, and Drona, the son of Piharadivaya, pronounced blessing on them, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When Karna said unto Bhishma, I will not fight when thou art fighting, and quitting the arm went away, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Vasudeva and Arjuna and the Bogandiva of immeasurable prowess, these trees of dreadful energy, had come together, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that upon Arjuna, having seen seized with compassion on his chariot and ready to sink, Krishna showed him all the woes within his body, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Bhishma, the desolation of foes, killing 10,000 chariots every day in the field of Bairu, had no slain in amongst the note, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Bhishma, the rightful son of Ganga, had himself indicated the means of his defeat in the field of battle, and that the same were accomplished by the Pandavas with joyfulness, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Arjuna, having placed Sikhandi before himself in his chariot, had wounded Bhishma of infinite courage and invisible in the battle, then, O Sanjaya, I have no hope of success. When I heard that, the aged hero Bhishma, having reduced the numbers of the race of Sihomaka to a few, overcome with various wounds, was lying on the bed of arrows, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that, upon Bhishma lying on the ground with thirst for water, Arjuna, being requested, had burst in the ground and allayed his thirst, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When by you, together with Indra and Surya, united as allies for the success of the sons of Kanti and the beasts of Preya, were putting us in fear, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When the wonderful warrior Drona, displaying various modes of fighting in the field, did not slay any of the superior Pandavas, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that, the Maharatihas and Sapitakas of Oam, appointed of the overthrow of Arjuna, were all slain by Arjuna himself, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that, our disposition of foes, impenetrable by orders, and defended by Viharadivaya himself, well armed, had been single force and entered by the brave son of Subhadra, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that, our Maharatihas, unable to overcome Arjuna, with jubilant face, after having joyed Surad and slain the boy Abhimanyu, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that, the blind Kauravas were shouting for joy after having slain Abhimanyu, and that thereupon Arjuna, in anger, made his celebrated speech, referring to Sandihava, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Arjuna had vowed the death of Sandihava and fulfilled his vow in the presence of his enemies, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that, upon the horse of Arjuna, being fatigued, Vasudeva released them, made them drink water, and bring them back, and he harnessed them, continued to guide them as before. Then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that, while his horse were fatigued, Arjuna stayed in his chariot, checked out his assailants, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Yuyudhishthira of the race of Vrishni, after having thrown into confusion the arm of Drona, handily unbearable in prowess, owing to the presence of elephant, he tried to where Krishna and Arjuna were. Then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Karna, even though he had got Bhishma with his power, allowed him to escape after only addressing him in contemptuous terms and dragging him with the end of his bow, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Drona, Kitravarman, Kripa, Karna, the son of Drona, and the valiant king of Madra, suffered Sandihava to be slain, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that, the celestial Sakti, given by Indra, was by Madhihava's machination, caused to be hurled upon Rakshasa Vihatotikasha of frightful countenance, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that, in the encounter between Karna and Gihatotikasha, that Sakti was hurled against Gihatotikasha by Karna, the same which was certainly to have slain Arjuna in Bhairav. Then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the Hitradyumna, transgressing the law of Bhairav, slain Drona while alone in his chariot, and resolved on death, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Nakula, the son of Madri, having in the presence of the whole arm, engaged in single combat with the son of Drona, and showed himself equal to him, drove his chariot in circles around, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When upon the death of Drona, his son misused the weapon called Narayana, but failed to achieve the destruction of the Pandavas, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Bhishmasena drank the blood of his brother Dusasana in the field of Bhairav, without anybody being able to prevent him, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the infinitely brave Karna, invisible in Bhairav, was slain by Arjuna in that war of brothers, mysterious even to the gods, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Yudhishthira, the just, overcome the heroic son of Drona, Dusasana, and the fierce Kritavarman, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the brave king of Madra, who even there Krishna in Bhairav, was slain by Yudhishthira, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the weak Suvala of magic power, the root of the gaming and the field, was slain in Bhairav by Sagadeva, the son of Pandu, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Duryodhana, spent with fatigue, having gone to a lake and made a refuge for himself with Iswara, was lying there alone, his strength gone, and without a chariot, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the Pandavas have gone to that lake, accompanied by Vasudeva, and standing on its beach, began to address contemptuously my son who was incapable of putting up with affronts, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that, while displaying circles, a variety of curious modes, in encounter with clubs, he was unfairly slain according to the counsels of Krishna, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the son of Drona and others by slay the Panchalas and the sons of Draupadi in their sleep perpetrated a horrible and infamous deed, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Asvatiti Haman, while being pursued by Bhishmasena, had discharged the first of weapons, called Aishika, by which the embryo in the womb was wounded, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the weapon Brahmashira was repelled by Arjuna with another weapon of which he had pronounced the word Sasti, and that Asvati Haman had to give up the Jews like excrescence on his head, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that upon the embryo in the womb of Virata's daughter, been wounded by Asvati Haman with a marked weapon, Divayapayana and Krishna pronounced curse on him, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. Gandhihari, destitute of children, grandchildren, parents, brothers, and kindred, is to be pitied. Difficult is the task that have been performed by the Pandavas, but then have a kingdom been recovered without a rival. I have heard that the war have left only 10 alive, 3 for side, and the Pandavas 7, and that dreadful conflict, 11 of Kshatriyas have been slain. Around me is utter darkness, and the fittest one assails me. Conscience leave me, O Sutta, and my mind is distracted. Sauti said. The Dhritarashtra, bewailing his fate in these words, was overcome with extreme anguish, and for a time deprived of sense, but being revived, he addressed Sanjaya in the following words. After what have come to pass, O Sanjaya, I wish to put an end to my life without a delay. I do not find the least advantage in cherishing it any longer. Saud said. The wise son of Gavalgana then addressed the distressed lord of earth, while thus talking and bewailing, sighing like a serpent, and repeatedly stating in this word of deep importance. Thou hast heard, O Raja, of the greatly powerful men of vast exertions. He spoke of Bhavayasa and the wise Narada, men born of great royal families, resplendent with worthy qualities, versed in the science of celestial arms, and in glory emblems of India, men who having conquered the world by justice, and performed a sacrifice with fit offering, obtained renown in this world, and at last succumbed to the sway of time. Such were Saiviya, the valiant Maharatiha, Srinjaya, great amongst conquerors, Suhotra, Rantideva, and Kakshivanta, great in glory, Valhika, Damana, Saryati, Ashita, and Nala, Visvamitra, the destroyer of foes, Amvarisha, great in strength, Marutita, Manu, Ikshaku, Gaya, and Biharata, Rama, the son of Dasaratiha, Sasavindu, and Biharajiratiha, Kritaviriya, the greatly fortunate, and Jana Mejaya too, and Yayat of good deeds who perform a sacrifice, being assisted therein by the celestial themselves, and by whose sacrificial altars and stake this earth, with her habitate and uninhabited regions, have been marked all over. These 24 Rajas were formerly spoken of by the celestial rich Narada unto Saiviya, when much afflicted for the loss of children. Beside these, other Rajas had gone before, still more powerful than they, marked with chariots noble in mind, and resplendent with every worthy quality. These were Puru, Kuru, Yadu, Sura, and Visvagasva, of great glory, Anuha, Yuvanasva, Kakutstiha, Vikrami and Sagihu, Vijaya, Vitihurta, Anga, Bihava, Siveta, and Vripadi Guru, Uzinara, Satahatiha, Kanka, Duliduha, and Druma, Dambihodi Bihava, Para, Vena, Sagara, Sankriti, and Nimi, Ajeya, Parasu, Pundra, Sambihu, and Holy Deva Vridiha, Deva Huya, Supratika, and Vrihadi Hatiha. Mahatisaha, Vinit Atima, Sukratu, and Nala, the king of the Hadas, Satyavrata, Santa Vihaya, Sumitra, and the chief Subala, Janujangiha, Annaranya, Arka, Priya Vihiritiya, Shushifrata, Balavandihu, Nirmardita, Ketstringa, and Viridibala, Dirishtaketu, Virihateketu, Dripitaketu, and Niramaya, Avikshiti, Shapala, Dihurta, Kritibandihu, and Dririsudhi, Maharapurana Sambihaviya, Pratyanga, Paraha, and Surti. These, O chiefs, and other Rajas, we have enumerated by hundred and by thousand, and still other by millions, prince of great power and wisdom, getting very abundant enjoyments, meet death as thy son have done. their cavalry deeds, valor and generosity, their magnanimity, faith, truth, purity, simplicity and mercy are published to the world in the records of former times by sacred bars of great learning. For endowed with every noble virtue, these have yielded up their lives. Thy some were malevolent, inflamed with passion, avaricious, and of very evil disposition. For art vested in the sastra, or Bharata, and art intelligent and wise. They never sink on misfortune, whose understanding are guided by the sastra. For art acquainted, O prince, with the lenity and severity of fate, that anxious therefore for the safety of the children is unbecoming. Moreover, it behoveth thee not to grieve for that which must happen, for who can avert by his windows the decrees of fate? No one can live the way marked out for him by providence. Existence and no-existence, pleasure and pain, all have time for the root. Time creates all things, and time destroyeth all creatures. It is time that burneth creatures, and it is time that extinguishes the fire. All states, the good and evil, in the three worlds are caused by time. Time cutteth short all things and creates them anew. Time alone is awake, when all things are asleep. Indeed, time is incapable of being overcome. Time passeth over all things without being retarded. Knowing as thou dost, that all things past and future, and all that exists as the present moment, are the offspring of time, it behoveth thee not to throw away thy reason. So it is said. The son of Gavalgana, having in his manner administered comfort to the royal Dhritarashtra, overwhelmed with grief for his sons, then restored his mind to peace. Take these facts for his subject. The Vayapayana composed a whole Upanishad that has been published to the world by learned and sacred bards, and the Puranas composed by them. The study of the Mahabharata is an act of piety. He that readeth if one foot with belief have his sins entire purged away. Herein Devas, Devakshis, and immaculated Brahmakshis of good deeds have been spoken of, and likewise Yakshas and great Uragas. Herein also have been described the eternal Vasudeva, possessing the 6 attributes. He is the true and just, the pure and whole, the eternal Brahma, the supreme soul, the true constant light, whose divine deeds wise and learned recount, for whom have proceeded the non-existent and existent non-existent universe with principle of generation and progression and birth, death and rebirth, that also have been treated of which is called Adhyatma, that part of the attributes of the 5 elements, that also have been described who is Purusha, being above such epithets and undisplayed and the like, was that with the foremost yatis, exempt for the common destiny, and endowed with the power of meditation and tapas, behold dwelling in their hearts as a reflect image in the mirror. The men of faith, devout to piety, and constant in the exercise of virtue, only this section is freed from sin. The believer that constantly heareth recited this section of the Mahabharata, called the introduction, from the beginning, falleth not into difficulties. The man repeat any part of the introduction in the 2 twilights is during such act freed from the sins contracted during the day or the night. This section, the borg of the Mahabharata, is truth and nectar, and Buddha is in God, Brahman among bipeds, the Aranyaka among the Vedas, and the nectar among the medicines, as the sea is eminent among receptacles of water, and the cow among the quadrupeds. As are these, so is the Mahabharata, said to be among histories. He that causeth it, even sing food thereof, to be recited to Brahmanas during a Sradhiha, his offering of food and drink to the manes of his ancestor, become inexhaustibly. By the idea of history and the Puranas, the Veda may be expounded, but the Veda is afraid of one of little information, lest he show it. The learned man who has seated to order this Veda of Vyasa reapeth advantage. It may without doubt destroy even the sin of killing the embryo and the like. He that readeth this whole chapter of the moon readeth the whole of the Mahabharata. We, the men who with reverence they listeneth to this sacred work, acquireth long life and renew, and ascendeth to heaven. In former days, having placed the four Vedas on one side and the Mahabharata on the other, these were weighed in the balance by the celestials assembled for that purpose, and as later weighed heavier than the four Vedas with their mysteries, from that period it hath been called in the word Mahabharata, being esteemed superior both in substance and gravity of importance, it is denominated Mahabharata on account of such substance and gravity of importance. He that knoweth its meaning is saved from all his sins. Papa is innocent, study is harmless. The ordinance of the Vedas prescribed for all the tribes are harmless. The acquisition of wealth by extortion is harmless, but when they are abused in their practices, it is then that they become source of evil.